Okay, in this video we're going to be talking about slope, which is a topic that will be familiar to you from algebra. And as you recall, the definition of slope is just rise over run. And you sometimes see this written in a kind of formula form as y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And these x1s and x2s and y1s and y2s just correspond to the coordinates of 2 points. And so if I have a set of xy coordinates and I have these 2 points here, then the slope of the line between these 2 points can be calculated if I know the coordinates of this point, x1 and y1, and the coordinates of this point, x2 and y2. So I would just take these coordinates for each of those 2 points, plug them into my slope formula, and I would have the slope. So before we do that with some actual numbers, we're going to look at the 4 different types of slope. First type is positive slope, and that just means a line that on the xy coordinates, on the xy axes, it's going up in this direction. That's a positive slope, a line with positive slope. A negative slope is a line that goes in the other direction. All right. Now, there's 2 other types of slope. We have a line that has 0 slope. That's a horizontal line. A horizontal line has 0 slope. And then we also have a line with what's called undefined slope. And that's a line that goes straight up and down, or a vertical line. So a vertical line has undefined slope, and a horizontal line has a slope of 0. Okay, let's take a look at a couple of examples. Example number 1 says calculate the slope of the line between these 2 points. Well, I have my slope formula, and m, the letter m, is often used to denote slope. So slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So first let me label my points here. Let me call this x1 and y1, and x2 and y2. Now I just need to plug in my numbers. So y2 minus y1, let's see, y2 is 5, y1 is 2, x2 is 6, and x1 is 0. So I plug those numbers in and I do a little arithmetic. 5 minus 2 is 3, 6 minus 0 is 6. So I have 3 over 6, and if I reduce that to lowest terms, then I get the slope is 1/2. Now notice it doesn't matter which way you label these coordinates, as long as your x coordinate is one of your x values and the y coordinate is the corresponding y value. So for example, I could have labeled these points, I could have said, let's label this point x1, y1, and label this x2, y2, and I'm still going to get the same answer. So let's see what that looks like. Slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Well, now I've swapped my points, so now my y2 value is 2 minus y1, my y1 value is 5. My x2 value now is 0, and my x1 value is 6. So 2 minus 5, that's negative 3. 0 minus 6, that's negative 6. Negative 3 divided by negative 6 is still 3 over 6, which is still 1/2. So it doesn't matter which way you label your points, you're still going to get the same slope. All right, let's do one more. Slope of the line between these 2 points. So let's see, once again, let's call this x1, y1, x2, and y2. So let's see, my slope is going to be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. y2 is 2, y1 is 6, x2 is 4, and x1 now is a negative 1, so I need to make sure I have x2 minus my negative 1. So let's see, 2 minus 6, that's negative 4. 4 minus a negative 1, that's going to make this 4 plus a positive 1, so 4 plus 1, that's 5. So my slope here is going to be negative 4/5. So when 2 lines have the same slope, then we say that those lines are parallel. And often the symbol that we use for parallel lines just looks like there's two slanted lines together. We've seen that before. If two lines have opposite reciprocal slope, then those lines are perpendicular. And the symbol for perpendicular, a kind of shorthand symbol, looks like this. So if, for example, we have a line and the slope of that line is 3, then a slope of any line parallel to that is also going to be 3, because parallel lines have the same slope. The slope of a line that's perpendicular to our original line is going to have the opposite reciprocal, which means we take the number 3 and we flip it and take the negative of it. So the opposite reciprocal of 3 is going to be negative 1/3. If our original slope is negative 7, parallel slope is negative 7, the perpendicular slope is flip it and take the negative, so that's going to be positive 1/7. Original slope is 1/2, parallel is 1/2, perpendicular is negative 2/1 or negative 2. Negative 3/5, the parallel slope is going to be negative 3/5. The perpendicular slope is going to be positive 5/3. And if our original slope is 1, parallel slope will be 1, and the perpendicular slope would be negative 1/1, or just negative 1. Our example number 3 says, find the slope of a line parallel to the line passing through the points 12, -6, and 0, 6. So to find the slope of a line parallel to this line, first we need to find the slope of the line passing through these points. So let's call this x1, y1, x2, y2. And I'm going to use my slope formula to find this slope, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And let's see, that's going to be 6 minus negative 6 over 0 minus 12. So that's going to give me, let's see, 6 minus negative 6, that's 6 plus 6, which is 12. 0 minus 12 is negative 12, so this gives me a slope, gives me a slope of negative 1. Well, I want the slope of a line parallel to that line. I'm going to write that like this, slope and my little parallel symbol. So the slope of a line parallel to this is just going to be negative 1. So there's the slope of my line that's parallel to the line passing through those 2 points. Example 4 says, find the slope of a line perpendicular to the line passing through these 2 points. All right, well again, we labeled these points x1, y1, x2, y2. And I want to find the slope of the line passing through those 2 points. So I just plug my numbers into my formula here. y2 is negative 4 minus y1, which is 3. x2 is 10 minus x1 is 8. So let's see, that gives me negative 7 over 2. So I get a slope of negative 7 over 2. However, I want the slope of the line perpendicular to that line. So I'm going to write this as slope of a perpendicular line. And that's just going to be the opposite reciprocal of this slope. So the opposite reciprocal is going to be 2 over 7, and I take the opposite, so that's going to be positive. And there is the slope of the line perpendicular to the given line. Now you have a couple of more examples in your notes. You try those on your own, and we'll take a look at those answers in class tomorrow.